What is up, everybody? This is Coach Jeff Hand, and I'm going to give you my top 10 lessons that I learned from finishing the second annual David Goggins 4x4x48 challenge. That started March 5th, and it ended March 7th, 2021. And the challenge was a great revealer. It was a great revealer of my strengths, but also my weaknesses. So I put together a short video of the top 10 lessons that I've learned that I hope that you can go through and digest, and that you can use if you're going to attempt the 4x4x48. And if not, I believe that these are universal lessons that can be applied to any area of your life. So if you do like this content, please let me know in the comments below. And if you don't mind, please like and subscribe to my channel. Enjoy. In no particular order, the first one is have a team. I could not imagine doing this challenge by myself. Now, I'm a solo runner and I've been that way for almost 2 decades, but this is a challenge I highly recommend you don't do on your own. Not only during the runs will it help keep you accountable to give your best, but it's going to support you in those emotional times when you're sleep deprived or when you're really questioning yourself on why am I actually doing this challenge. So for us personally, we had 3 other people running with me, but a lot of the runs we actually had groups show up with signs and they would encourage us, and I can't tell you how much of a difference that made. A lot of my runs were sub 7.5 minute miles. Guaranteed I would not have been doing that kind of pace by myself. So first one, gotta have a team. Go with the team. All right, lesson number 2 is about proper fueling. Now, of course, you want to, make sure that you have adequate amount of protein, about, 1 gram per pound of body weight. I'm talking specifically about carbohydrate intake. I thought I was getting enough carbs, but I was not. There were 2 legs of this challenge where I definitely hit a wall around mile 3 and my legs just stopped. I was glycogen depleted. So what I recommend is that you do keep on hand some fast digesting carbohydrates. This could be a sports drink that has like dextrose or maltodextrin in it, or it could be fruit. So towards the end of the challenge, I was smashing a lot of bananas and had no issues with hitting that glycogen wall. So make sure that you're properly fueling before your runs. 2 to 3 hours before that run, make sure that you're ingesting, 40 to 60 grams of a fast digesting carbohydrate. The third one is proper footwear. So again, odds are you are an avid runner if you are taking on this challenge. And the shoes that I ran in were the Hoka Rockets, which are carbon plated, but you're going to want something that provides a lot of cushion for, that real aggressive impact. But also something that is very snug, because you don't want to run into any, friction, blisters and things like that can occur. So you want proper footwear. You want some good compression socks, some running socks, and obviously make sure that you're lacing up properly, not too loose and certainly not too tight. But your footwear is critical. Some of the people that were on my team ran into some issues really early on with blisters because they hadn't tightened their shoes correctly, had the wrong socks, or the footwear just wasn't cut out for the job. So obviously there's a lot of different running shoes out there. Find what works best for you. But I'm a big fan of the Hoka One line. Really good stuff. All right, the 4th lesson is foam rolling is key. Now, I've been an avid proponent of foam rolling and stretching and mobility work, but it's critical when you're putting this amount of volume through your body. You got to remember that when you're running, every time your foot strikes the ground, about 4 to 6 times your body weight is getting pushed back up through your body. So just think about the thousands and thousands of reps you're running per mile, multiply that times 48. So you're going to develop a lot of damage amongst the muscle and the fascia. So I highly recommend that before and after your runs, you're working things like the calves, the IT band, the quadriceps, your hip flexors like the TFL, the glutes, the hips, and the thoracic spine. Now, the foam rollers that you use is up to you. I personally was using the Rolgas and lacrosse balls, and it saved the day. So lesson number 4 is make sure that you foam roll and stretch consistently. All right, lesson number 5 is another fueling tip, another fueling lesson. And not only are you going to want to make sure that you're drinking, I'd say at least a gallon of water, depending, especially on when you're doing this challenge, what time of year it is, what type of environment you're in, what's the temperature like. But I'd say aim for about, 128 ounces a day. if not more, but you also need to be replenishing electrolytes. So these are things like sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. So personally, I do like to maintain a certain level of physique, certain level of body fat. So for me, I was not only drinking a lot of water, I was also downing a lot of Gatorade Zeros. So make sure that electrolytes are your friend during this. You're going to deal with cramps, a bunch of brain fog, and a lot of things that you don't want to run into when you're having to take on 48 miles in just 48 hours. Now, lesson number 6, I definitely learned a lot from Goggins. And if you're taking on his challenge, odds are you're a fan of David Goggins and maybe read his book, Can't Hurt Me. But in that, you learn about mental mantras, right? These mental models that you need to rely on. So really what this is you're learning to distract your mind, right? You have proper foot strike, your breathing's down, but when the brain comes back and wants you to focus on the suffering or the pain of the run, you need to have these mental models that will essentially distract your mind for that, 30 to 35 minutes that you're running. So whatever it is, you need to focus down and distract yourself. Maybe it's a pleasurable memory, or maybe it's a certain mantra, that quitters never win and winners never quit and quitters never win and winners never quit. Whatever you need to be saying to yourself to get through, you need to remind yourself that this is more of a mental challenge than anything else. Lesson number 7 is about the environment in which you run in. So you want something safe. So we have a track that's really close to my gym here, and we knew that it was going to be really well lit. We knew that the surface was going to be safe and level, and we knew that it was something that is predictable, right? So you don't want to be running in terrain where it's not very well lit, different hours of the night. You don't want to roll an ankle. You don't want to get hurt. You certainly don't want to be around a lot of, pedestrians or other type of motor vehicles. So lesson 7 is you need to really plot an area that doesn't require too much drive time, but that is safe and well lit, because you're going to be running at some pretty weird hours like midnight and 4 a.m. So lesson number 8 is about your breathing, right? And when you start to suffer and go through pain, as you will incur during this challenge, the brain will start to panic. And when it does, your breathing can become erratic. So breathing is something that you can use to bring you back. It can center you. So proper breathing is that slow inhale through the nose, slow exhale through the mouth, using your diaphragm. But proper breathing is critical to running, not only sustaining, but being able to keep the pace that you're looking for. So really find out the breathing technique that's going to work for you and dial into that anytime the run gets intense, your brain starts to panic, or you don't feel like you can do it. Just focus down on your breathing. Now, lesson 9 is the simple concept of believing in yourself. I say breathe and believe, right? 8 and 9 is about breathing and believing. Once you got the breath down, you gotta believe, because this challenge gets rough real quick with the sleep deprivation. You have to believe that you can do it. So what I like to use is thinking that other people have done this, right? This isn't the first time somebody's ran this kind of volume. I think about the people that are running 200-300 mile runs. What's 48 miles, right? So you got to believe that you can do it, because whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And the last and final lesson that I have for you is about pace. Don't start out too hot and too heavy. You want to keep your mile pace relatively consistent. So I use the Garmin Forerunner 235 to do that. And periodically throughout my run, I was just checking down to make sure that if I was, feeling really good during that run, I wasn't pushing, sub 7-minute miles and shooting myself in the foot. So you just got to find that pace that you can sustain for the entire 4 miles. Don't gas yourself out. And obviously you don't want to undershoot either and go too slow, because the slower you go means you have less recovery time between your 4x4x48. All right, guys, those are my 10 lessons that I took away from my first round, my first shot at the 4x4x48, which I successfully completed March 7th, 2021. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. And if you did, again, let me know in the comments below. And please like and subscribe to my channel, as I will continue to bring you guys tons of amazing free content that'll help you guys to burn fat, build strength, and become the best versions of yourself. Until next time, this is Coach Jeff signing out.